What is up, fight fans, and welcome to a special edition of the Scrap Report. And I am Jason Burgos for Sportsnaut. And in this episode, I am flying solo, but will be joined by a true influencer in the fight game. He's a man that has achieved the rare feat of not just building a fight brand from the ground up, but also making an age-old sport new again. And that man I speak of is Bare-Knuckle Fighting Championship founder and president, the one and only David Feldman, Senor Feldman. Thank you so much for the time today.
What's going on, Jason? How are you?
I'm good. I got a lot of questions for you, a lot of following up on what we talked about not too long ago. So, the first question I have to ask is a callback to our chat from a few months ago. We talked about you having some plans to make a little trip to the Middle East, speak with some investors, maybe some possibilities of a huge cash influx to really take the promotion to a whole new level. What is the latest on those movings and his willings? Is a deal in place? Is 2024 the year that BKFC becomes the number 2 contender to the UFC in the fight sports game?
I'm hoping that made a very successful trip out there. Actually expecting one agreement tomorrow, and then the rest of the crew is going to be down at our fight February 2nd, and we're just trying to get that done. The rest of that thing tied up there. We also have some other really, really big people, influential people in the investment world that will be at that event. Things are really, really looking great for us.
Is that going to be a showcase of what you do and kind of to finalize that deal, or is it something it's good to go and maybe we'll start seeing effects of it in the next couple of months?
It's good to go. I mean, look, they want to see the product in person, so this is their chance.
Yeah.
It's at the Hard Rock. It's almost sold out. It's a great card. It's going to be great atmosphere. So, if we're only waiting on them to see an event before they sign on the dotted line, then it's pretty much a show win for us.
Saudi Arabia has really jumped into the fight sports game in a big way in the last year or so. A company connected to their investment fund purchased part of PFL. PFL is going to go do an event over there this year. UFC is going to do an event this year. And of course, they are promoting a lot of heavyweight boxing fights, Francis Ngannou's fights of late and stuff like that. Is a BKFC show in the kingdom something that we could happen in 2024 so we can get that Saudi money?
Yeah, man, we could have an announcement as early as tomorrow on that. Right now, actually, it's just a matter of what date, if it's going to be because it could be very quick. It's coming up on us, the proposed date, very quick. And if that happens, then we just got to scramble. And if not, it'll be in a few months. But we're definitely looking to do something with Saudi Arabia. We're trying to ink that thing up fairly soon now.
When we talked last, you mentioned going on a free agent signing spree and going to be early in this year. How is that going? Are there some big signings you plan to announce soon? And can you offer a late Christmas gift and give us an exclusive right now, please?
And I got a former 3-division boxing world champion, one of the biggest names in boxing. I've got a slew of MMA guys. The thing is like I said, I did tell you in the last time, I got to close this funding round and then go sign the big names, and we're right there. We have everybody ready to go. It's just, I would never, ever commit to somebody if I couldn't fulfill that commitment. So I want to make sure this is it, and then we're going to commit. And we're just hoping that from February 1st on, this is it. We're really in a race to be, second, third biggest combat sports promotion in the world. And we have a very, very significant, one of the biggest meetings we've ever had next Tuesday. It's a huge meeting, and hopefully that's another game changer there, too. We also have a big thing going on Monday. We're pitching 2 different networks, and we have this other network deal that we're expecting to come in tomorrow. So many different things, and I hate to keep going, we're about to do this, we're about to do that, but I can't tell you who it is because if I do, it can make me feel up. But we're right there, and I'm excited to see where 2024 is going to take us. 2023 was probably our biggest year ever, and I think 2024 we're projected to. Our revenue projections are 2.5 times what we did in 23, and up to 5 times what we did in 23, depending on these couple of events that we're looking to do.
Give me a little inside football, so to speak, on these kinds of meetings and stuff like that, in terms of when you're pitching to say, people from the Middle East who may be kind of just learning the sport. and just getting into how do you pitch them to understand, okay, this is a sport that's really taken off. It's, comparable to, like, in popularity to, like, MMA and kind of stuff like that. And also, how do you pitch this to networks? Because networks are going to say, oh, it's bloody and there's cuts and it's bare knuckle, and of course they're going to buy into those nonsensical kind of tropes and stuff like that. What do you have to do to prepare for those? How are those kind of meetings different? What do you have to convey to see these kind of deals?
I deliver almost the same message to both of them in one fact. It's the relatability of fighting, right? Like, everybody knows what it is. Everybody in the world, man, woman, doesn't matter what color you are, doesn't matter how old you are, you know what a bare knuckle punch is. You just know what it is. You do it. You do it from the time that you're 6 months old until the time, where you're punching your husband in the mouth when you're 75. I mean, you do it all through your life. You've either done it or you watch somebody do it, right? Let's get even in a little deeper into the relatability of bare knuckle, right? Like, bare knuckle, I believe, is the sport of the everyday person. It's not really the sport of the guy all the way up here, and it's the sport of the guy that has to wake up every day, right? He wakes up every day and goes to work. He wakes up every day. He's tired. He didn't sleep good, and he says he gets punched in the fucking mouth by life, and he goes, "What am I going to do? Family, and am I going to fight for everything that I want, or am I going to lay down?" It just resonates with people. They can get behind it. They can imagine themselves in there as being a bare knuckle fighter because they've done it, they've seen it, and they have to do it every day. They haven't necessarily learned chokeholds or learned leg locks, and they've never really been in there with gloves on and slipping and moving around the ring. But they've got in there and they stood toe to toe with somebody. They watched somebody do it, or they stood toe to toe with life, and that's what makes it so relatable. And that's why these investors need to get involved, and they are. And that's why the TV stations need to get involved, and they are now too, because they understand that, look, the perception of this thing, you're going to say it's very, very dangerous, it's this and that. We just pitched the Nevada State Athletic Commission on Tuesday. Very, very, we were very well received, very well welcomed, and we, I don't know it's going to be a yes, but we expect a yes out of them. And why? Because they all had the perception, and we showed them all the data now. So when we started this thing, and even when I talked to you years ago, I talked about my opinion on it and other people's opinion on it. The opinion doesn't matter anymore. The facts are there. We have less injury and less major injuries than boxing or mixed martial arts. That's the facts. So we can show the facts to the investors, we show the facts to the TV networks. Now they get it. Now they understand it. And it's a lot easier sell to these guys now. And because of that, it's making our life a lot easier.
Going to the idea of TV, and also because you mentioned how well the profits were this year. I wanted to ask about an issue that's affecting the company and the profits in two of the biggest events this year, and that's illegal streaming. The data shows, that both BKFC 41 and the last event had really good views and large numbers, unfortunately, of illegal streams. While you have tried to, I know, in interviews, see the bright side of it, how much money did it cost the brand by all the illegal streaming? And especially since I'm sure, to produce those cars from the start were fairly expensive.
Yeah, I can't really put a finger on exactly what it cost us, because just because you have illegal streamers doesn't mean that they were going to buy, right? We know that some of them were going to buy, and it was easy to click it. The problem with illegal streaming, the real problem here, the real problem, is it's easier to illegally stream it than it is to buy it. And that's the problem. Like, you click a link and you watch it. When you sign up for a pay-per-view, you got to put your name in, your credit card number, you got to do this, and then you buy a pay-per-view. It sucks. So the way we're combating it is we're working on a TV deal, and twofold is we're going to give it to them free, and we're going to make our money through ad revenue. So we're not going to have to charge for the events, or we're not going to have to charge a significant fee. It's going to be a lower fee, which is like, hey, do I want to legally stream it, or do I want to pay $5 for this event and support these guys? And I go out there, look, I go on my social media. I'm into the fans. I go in there and I see people go, yeah, I can't wait to illegally stream this. And I go like this to the guys. I said, hey, guys, BKFC would really appreciate your support and really appreciate if you bought this instead of illegally streamed it so we can do more events like this. And they come back and go, I'm absolutely buying it now. They want to hear from people. They want that they're really dealing with people. And in the whole big picture, they don't think
just going to the idea of what you were saying about illegal streaming and stuff like that, and the problems it causes, does that make the importance of a TV deal that much more? And that you see a lot of these brands and everything, they're going towards TV media rights is where they make the bulk of the money instead of things, say, like pay-per-view. And a lot of big brands, like, say, WWE is doing that. DAZN has become a thing because of the streaming service. Does that make a TV deal more important? So, okay, look, I don't want to deal with this damn illegal streaming anymore. I want something more reliable, and maybe going towards a media rights deal for BKFC and giving away fights on free TV or apps is something that you guys are thinking about.
That's 100% the model. Look, we're not the juggernaut that the UFC is, and we can't just press a button and do pay-per-views and everybody watch this because they don't all know about us. So in order for people to know about us, we need a wider audience, and those TV rights deals give us a wider audience, and that's definitely what we're looking for.
Next, Mike Perry was the headline at BKFC 41, 56, two events that were very successful based on the interest and everything. You got a guy like Dana White who'll say, oh, we're looking at the stats and we'll see from our numbers outside of pay-per-view buys and social media, okay, a Sean O'Malley, a Hamza Chimaev, they're becoming big stars based on these numbers. Is there anything in, like, the numbers for you guys when you're looking at it that's showing, like, man, this guy is a crazy breakout star for us so fast. We never expected it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just the numbers on the viewing numbers. It's the ticket sales. It's the media, how many media people are talking about him, writing about him, social media impressions. And he's by far the number one in our company. We have some other big names that we're going to be signing, like I said, and then he's definitely going to be fighting for that spot. But he's our first true big time bare knuckle star, meaning he became a star in bare knuckle. He was known in MMA. He became a star in bare knuckle. Damn. He's our first real true bare knuckle fighting star, and I think that's why he's getting a lot more following than he did in the past.
Going to a free agency, I wanted to ask about two free agents because they seem like they'd be perfect BKFC fits, but you know, they're and also because they're huge names, but maybe they're not. Maybe they could be difficult like this. So I figured might ask because the casuals would know them even more so. But the first one is Nate Diaz. Would he be a fighter you would pursue with this extra money you're possibly getting influx, or you've kind of talked to him since he's left the UFC and it just isn't a fit?
Yeah, it's not for him, to be honest with you. We had great conversations. Nice guy. Team was awesome. Great to deal with. It was just that, you know, he has a lot of cuts, and this isn't for him. He doesn't want to get cut up, and that's why he's going to stay away from this right now. So I would be very shocked if you saw Nate Diaz in a ring only because of that.
I know it would go away from the core essence of the brand, and I totally understand, but especially for maybe fighters that are kind of iffy on doing BKFC, a guy like him, would you be open to the idea of kind of special traditional boxing fights to get those bigger names on a certain card to draw attention to that?
No, we had a slew of guys that said, hey, can we fight with gloves on in your ring? Can we fight with MMA gloves on? It's just not our sport. I mean, we thought about it, huge names. We thought about it, and I was like, wow, what's it going to do? But at the end of the day, is I'm doing this to lure people in. I'm not doing this to make money on an event. I'm doing this to build a sport. I can't build a sport by going outside my sport. And, I mean, it was a tough decision to make because who doesn't want those big names? I mean, huge names we had. But at the end of the day is it's not really going to build our sport. More people know our name, but it doesn't really mean that they're going to know what our sport is.
Yeah. Last question. The other free agent I wanted to ask about is Jorge Masvidal. Now, I'm not sure how things will work out in terms of if he still has an existing UFC contract, but now that he has come out of retirement, is he a possible option? And that idea of maybe working with, like, Game Bred Bare Knuckle is something, or because he created Game Bred Bare Knuckle, he's a competitor, and that makes him kind of a non-starter for BKFC?
Yeah, not really. He's not really a competitor. I mean, we actually aired Game Bred the first couple events on our app, so, you know, I had no problem with that. You know, I don't really see them as competition, except for some fighters. I see them as helping grow a sport of bare knuckle and getting bare knuckle fighting out there. Even though they do it differently than I do, people are like, wow, bare knuckle. Jorge Masvidal, I'd love to have him in there. But I think right now, he's got a fight, not completely scheduled, but it looks like he's going to fight Nate Diaz in boxing. And if he does, then, you know, who knows if that's going to be his last one or not. But, I mean, this is his sport. So we'd love to welcome him here. That would be great. Great guy. His team's a great guy over there at Game Bred. So, you know, absolutely that would be something we would be interested in.